On June the 24th, 2017, a Canadian couple, Jasmine Lovett and Robert Sanderson, gave birth to their first child together, a daughter that they named Aliyah Lynn Sanderson. Aliyah became the couple's whole world. They absolutely doted on her. The couple were in their early 20s and had not yet got married, but they lived together with Aliyah, who took her father's last name. At first, things were good with the little family that they'd created, but soon things would change, as Robbie started coming home later and later, leaving Jasmine at home doing everything alone. Problems started to arise and arguments were more and more frequent, with Robert coming home drunk and sometimes high. Robbie would also seem to get angry and quite aggressive, one time even requesting money from Jasmine and not taking no for an answer. Now Jasmine refused, as she had no idea what Robert wanted this money for, not wanting him to blow it on drink or substances, and the problem was Robbie was not taking no for an answer, and he was getting pretty aggressive with her too. So to pacify him, Jasmine told him that she would go upstairs and collect her purse and bring it back down, but she didn't. As soon as she got upstairs, Jasmine locked herself in the bathroom and called the police. Now it's possible that Robbie heard what was going on, because all of a sudden Robbie completely lost his mind before kicking in the bathroom door and grabbing hold of Jasmine's phone. He then angrily stormed out of the house entirely, and when police arrived, Robbie was nowhere to be found. Police spoke to Jasmine and she told them everything that had happened. She was distraught, but police would eventually leave after telling Jasmine that there was nothing they could do because Robbie had not struck her and there was no crime committed. Now Jasmine was not happy with this. All of Robbie's behaviour recently had seemed to be getting worse. His aggression, his anger, the arguments, the fights, staying out late and spending all of his time away from his family. It all taken a toll on Jasmine, so she applied for a protection order against him, as she knew that he would be back if she didn't. Now this protection order was granted, but only 13 days later it was revoked. For what reason, you may be asking yourself? Well, it was because Robbie and Jasmine had decided that they were going to work things out and that they were getting back together. Not long after this, the couple split up. It seemed that they managed to co-parent amicably, with Jasmine getting full custody. Jasmine joined a few dating sites after deciding to get back out there on the dating scene and to see if she matched with anyone. Jasmine was looking for someone who was nice to look at, but beyond that, she was looking for someone who had a kind heart, someone who could make her laugh and she could see a future with. She caught the eye of a lot of men, probably because she was beautiful, and she was. But there was just no one that blew her out of the water, no one that she truly fancied. She loved the attention and it was really good for her self-confidence. After some time of searching, eventually Jasmine met someone who seemed really nice. His name was also Robert, this time Robert Leeming. Now Robert was 34 years of age, so quite a bit older than Jasmine. Robert had been born in England, but had travelled the world as a child as his father had been in the military. Due to moving around so much, Robert had found it difficult to make friends, which was something that seemed to be a problem as he had gotten older too. Now Robert had been previously married to a woman who lived in Canada, which is why he was living there when he met Jasmine. He was the father to a young boy, but the relationship had soured and the couple had split. He had moved over to live with his wife and now had a permanent residency, working as a HGV mechanic in the area, so Robert and Jasmine had now started dating around September 2018, and only 1 month later, Jasmine and her daughter Aliyah had moved into Robert's home. It was quick. But Jasmine was not working at this time. She was living with Robert, she was receiving child support from her ex Robbie and was spending time bringing up her daughter. When Robert was not working, he loved being at home with Jasmine and Aliyah. He doted on the little girl, looking after her when Jasmine went out to run errands. He cooked, he cleaned, and really helped around the house, which was in stark contrast to when she'd been with Robbie. Jasmine was close to her family, her mother and her sister. They would regularly meet up for meals, with Robert going with them. Her family really liked Robert and saw him as part of the family. On April the 14th, 2019, the little family met up with Jasmine's family for dinner, but for some reason Jasmine's sister thought that Robert and Jasmine seemed distant from each other. So Jasmine's sister made arrangements to meet up with her sister on the 19th of April. But when the 19th rolled around, Jasmine and Alea never turned up. It was not like Jasmine meant to forget. So her sister called her phone and messaged her multiple times, but Jasmine did not respond. It was weird, as Jasmine always had her phone with her. She carried it everywhere. She always replied or answered her phone when anybody contacted her, so it was just not right. After spending all day trying to get in touch with Jasmine, her sister went round to the house. By now it was 5 p.m. as she pounded on the front door, making note that the basement light was on, so someone must be in, right? She knocked again, but still no answer. She rang the doorbell again and again, but still no one answered the door. It was like no one was home. On the 21st, Jasmine's mother decided to go round to the house also. She had also not been able to get in touch with her daughter, so she rang the doorbell and pounded on the door. But again, no one answered. The only difference was that this time there was a pair of wet trainers/sneakers by the front door, as if they had been put out to dry after being cleaned. So Jasmine's mother put a note on the door telling Jasmine to get in touch with her. Days later, the family again had a pre-arranged dinner, with Jasmine penciled in their calendars. Despite them not hearing from Jasmine, they still expected her to turn up for the meal. But again, she let them down. By now, her family were beside themselves with worry. There would be no way that Jasmine would ignore the calls and messages, not go on Facebook, not even open their messages, not answer the door or turn up to these pre-arranged meals. So she would have at least let them know. If her phone had not been working, she would have used Robert's. They were just so worried. So Jasmine's sister Genevieve and her mother went straight to the police station with a photo and reported their daughter and sister missing. Police asked if the family felt that her ex, Robbie, might be involved in some way, but they said that they didn't think so. Family told of how loving Robert was, the new Robert, but yet they had met only recently and the couple's relationship had seemed to be strained. The family gave as much information as they could to officers. This is when Genevieve, Jasmine's sister, told of many things that she had been concerned about. In December 2018, Jasmine had texted her sister to tell her that the couple had broken up, but decided to live together as roommates. Only a few weeks later, Jasmine told Genevieve that she and Robert had gotten back together. Also told her sister that she'd gotten pregnant by Robert, but that she'd terminated the pregnancy. Then she told her sister that her ex, Robbie, had given up all rights to his child, Alea, which meant that she did not receive any further child support payments. She told her sister that things were really tight when it came to money and that she was looking to get a job as soon as possible. She wanted to get back out into the world. She was jealous of Robert going to work each day and wanted to be around adults and needed the money really bad. Police took it seriously, so they devised a timeline of when Jasmine was last seen. Now, on April the 14th, Jasmine and Alea had been out with family for dinner. On the 15th of April, they had been caught on CCTV in a local grocery store close to where she lived. Then, on April the 16th, Robert dropped Alea off at daycare at 7:15 a.m, picking her back up at 4:46 p.m. Now, the only problem was that according to the daycare, Robert was not listed on the pickup list as someone who was able to collect her, so Robert had to call Jasmine, and Jasmine had to agree that he was okay to pick Alea up. After this, no one had seen Alea or Jasmine again, although on April the 18th, Jasmine's card details were used to order food delivery to the house. It was obvious by now that Robert was the last person to spend any time with the pair and that he must know something. So on April the 24th, the police arrived at the couple's home to perform a welfare check. They knocked and knocked, they rang the bell again and again, but no one answered. The note that Jasmine's mother had placed on the door was still there, but now a plastic cellophane wrap was covering the small window within the front door, so you couldn't look in and see anything anymore. One officer, as she walked around the side of the house, noted that a car trunk or /boot liner was laid over the air conditioning unit. It was wet as if it had been washed and maybe out there drying. The hose pipe was untangled from the wall, and police stood outside for ages. They waited and waited, walking around the home trying to look through any windows that were available, but many of them were second floor. Police were unable to get into the house without a warrant. But what they did do was call the fire department, who arrived with ladders so that they could look through the upstairs windows. Now, the police didn't see anything through the windows, but almost as soon as the fire department truck arrived, the lights in the house went out and Robert suddenly appeared at the door. Police asked him why he had taken so long to answer, as well as where is Jasmine. Robert said that he'd been sleeping with earplugs in and that he had previously been smoking and was high. Robert also told how Jasmine was with her sister, but that made no sense at all, as it was Jasmine's sister that had reported her missing. Police asked if they could search the house and went upstairs to look for her.
How's it going?
Says she's with her sister.
Well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Alright, well, we're just going to take a quick look around. We need to have a look.
So, sorry, you're Robert? Okay.
I was sleeping. I sleep with plugs in and...
Hey, but we've been here for hours and hours and hours now, hey? Banging on your door and...
All in here for
I've been drinking and smoking.
Okay, so she's not with her sister.
What do you mean?
Well, that's the reason that we're here,
Why do you think we're here?
is that the family's calling us, saying we haven't heard from our daughter and our sister.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense?
Yeah,
Okay, why does that make sense?
because I haven't heard from her either.
Okay. So, do you guys get in some sort of argument?
No, but I'm aware of.
Well, not that you're aware of. Like, you're not making a whole lot of sense to me,
like,
your guy.
like, I don't know what, sorry, I'm still getting my bearings here. So she's not with her family, but she did threaten to move out. I don't know, like 3 weeks ago. We got into a tizzy. She threw a bunch of my stuff out, food, and stuff like that. And I had a disagreement about that. Nothing like that would concern me.
Nothing that would concern you. Okay.
Like, I mean, I've had people living with me before, and they move out. You don't hear.
Right, but this isn't just like a roommate. This is your girlfriend.
No, it's more roommate than girlfriend.
She's more of a roommate than a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last time that you saw Jasmine was when?
Thursday.
Okay, and at that time, you guys were A-okay or fighting, or what was the status?
I would say in the air, judging by what obviously has gone down with hers and she not here.
So what makes you believe that she's with her sister?
She told me that she was going to go and spend Easter with them on Tuesday, talking about it, because I don't have my son, so, you know, it's kind of depressed about that. Just, you know, a lot of drinking a lot over the weekend, because I've probably been on my own, right?
Does she have a car?
No, she doesn't have a license.
We got a phone number for the sister.
No, I'll have to phone Mom and start digging, but that doesn't jive.
What's this phone at for now?
It seemed like Robert was diminishing any sort of relationship that he had with Jasmine, possibly distancing himself away from her by making out that they were just roommates, despite meeting up with family like a couple and him dropping and picking up Elia from daycare. But he told officers that Jasmine had told him that she was going to spend Easter with her family and that if she wasn't there, then he had no idea where she was. Officers didn't seem to find anything of concern. They did find him suspicious and his answers, but nothing in the house. After talking to Robert and quickly checking upstairs, they left the property, making a phone call to Jasmine's family to tell them what Robert said about Jasmine being with them. They were shocked at what he had said and felt like something had happened to Jasmine, and if so, Robert was responsible. Now, police spoke to Robert's ex-wife, as she would know him better than anyone. When she found out Jasmine was missing, she told how Robert would drink and smoke a lot, that he would be emotionally abusing her, saying all sorts of horrible things, that he was aggressive, very angry, especially when he had a drink. And she also told about his growing GUN and knife collection. She told officers that she was concerned for Jasmine's safety. Robert's ex had even reported him for animal abuse, after he took the family dog and tied it to a tree in the park, leaving him with no food and no water. Luckily, some kind persons felt sorry for the dog and rescued him. Robert was charged with animal abuse and pled guilty to 3 counts: failing to provide a dog with shelter, failure to provide a dog with food and water, and causing an animal distress. Robert was fined $5,000 and ordered to never own a pet for 10 years. When the couple had got divorced, there were certain things that had concerned Robert's ex. She told in the divorce that Robert's internet searches were concerning, that he had searched chaining a dog to a tree, and then in another search he had searched a mother and daughter dying in a house fire. After doing all the research on Robert, police arrived back at his home, this time to arrest him for the suspicious disappearance of Jasmine and baby Elia. To the police station and started the interrogation. Police were shocked to hear that Robert was apparently on dating sites, meeting up with women and having dates, despite families saying that Jasmine and Robert were together and living together, a pretty serious couple at that. One woman that Robert went on a date with was questioned by police. She told how she had met Robert in December 2018, so about 5 months after Jasmine had moved into Robert's house. She told how they would meet up for dates, he would occasionally stay over at her house, and of course this new woman in Robert's life would ask why she couldn't come and stay at his home, but Robert would say that his room was messy and that he had roommates, stating that the only way that they could stay over at his house was if they slept in the car in the garage. The new woman in Robert's life did know about Jasmine, but not in the sense that we know. Robert told her that Jasmine was his roommate, and she had a child. After the interrogation, police had nothing to hold Robert on. They certainly were suspicious of his behaviour as well as his answers and the lack of concern towards Jasmine and Elia being missing, but it was not enough to charge him and they needed something more concrete. So Robert was released and went home, although his car and cell phone were seized for thorough examination. Police also had a search warrant for his townhouse, and Robert was not allowed to enter his home until forensics and detectives had thoroughly combed his home for evidence. It took a few days to completely search the home. Forensics downloaded Robert's phone information and found that on the 23rd of April, the day that Jasmine had been reported missing, he had deleted 30 photos of Jasmine and baby Elia from his phone, but he had also deleted 3 other photos. 3 photos that depicted one of his GUNs, all at the same time. Cell phone data also showed that on the day that Jasmine and her daughter went missing, Robert had been at Bragg Creek area. Police drove to the area and they found a kind of makeshift fire pit. It looked like it had been used. When they prodded around within it, officers discovered what looked like diapers, the seatbelt of a car seat, a Jungle Book DVD, shoes in the size of Elia's, and parts of children's books. Officers brought in cadaver and search dogs to the area, and dogs apparently alerted to the accelerant being used within the fire pit. Police retrieved CCTV footage from a local gas station that showed Robert not only filling up his car, but also filling up a gas can at the side of the car. He also took his car through the car wash. At the home, police had struggled to get through the front door as Robert had added these 2 long, large poles to the inside of the front door. There were areas on the walls that looked like they'd been sanded down and cleaned. There was a PIN code lock on his bedroom door, and for some strange reason, police found pieces of raw bacon just lying around the house, like draped over the back of chairs, etc. Police also found footage of Robert going back and forth to the garage, so that was on their list to check next. In the garage there was a safe that contained many GUNs. There were also boxes with blue moving blankets in them. In one of the bins/trash cans they found part of a GUN that had been melted down and then thrown away, along with Jasmine's prescription bottles, her shredded passport, clothes and other items of Jasmine's. Police held a press conference where they told the public about Jasmine and Elia's disappearance, announcing that Robert was their chief suspect in this case.
23rd, we received a report that a young mother and her daughter are missing. We now believe that we're investigating a double homicide. Last place anyone saw either of the two was in the community of Cranston on the evening of Tuesday, April 16th. We have Jasmine's bank card being used for an online purchase on the 18th, but we still can't determine if that was her who was purchasing. And police responded to her residence in the community of Cranston the night of April 23rd, based on concerns from her immediate family that she failed to show for a pre-planned family dinner. Took a suspect into custody for questioning this morning. No charges have been laid as of yet. We do not believe this incident to be random because the suspect and the victims knew each other.
Whilst out and about, reporters found Robert, hoping to get him to talk about Jasmine, hoping to get a scoop. Robert seemed shocked, but happy to talk to them.
The primary suspect in this homicide investigation, you still are. What are your thoughts about that, and what are your emotions right now? What's kind of going through your head?
It's very stressful, but I hope they will be found, and I hope we can move forward from this.
Now it seemed, though, that these interviews, you can find them online, Robert was possibly still drinking. He made out to reporters that him and Jasmine were just good friends and hoped that they would be found soon. Detectives watched the news reports and decided that it was as if he enjoyed the attention from the reporters, so came up with a strategy. 2 detectives in plain clothes walked up to Robert on the street saying, "Hey dude, you're that guy on the news, you're so cool. Oh my gosh, nice to meet you." And Robert replied, "Hardly, there's nothing good about my life right now, I can tell you that much." Now, these officers said, "Look, we think you're innocent, but look, we have something to tell you. One of your neighbours was snooping around your property while the police were searching it." The officers told Robert that this neighbour had taken a bag of evidence and given it to them. They asked if he wanted it back and talked about disposing of it, saying, "Come on, let's go for a beer and we'll talk about it. Talk about destroying this evidence." And Robert agreed. He went with these 2 men, these undercover officers, not knowing they were officers. They told Robert that they were part of a crime group, telling him that they hated the police. And they said, "Look, come with us to our warehouse. We'll show you where we keep all our GUNs. We have a massive array of them." And of course, Robert was really into his GUNs. And again he agreed, so the 3 men arrived at this warehouse where the pair showed Robert this huge array of GUNs, still trying to get him to gain their trust, and eventually Robert started opening up. It was like these guys had trusted him with something of theirs, so in turn he started to trust them. He told them that he had cheated on his girlfriend Jasmine because, well, that's what men do, he said. He told the pair that Jasmine suspected him of cheating and that she just wanted more. She wanted to get married and complained to the pair that women always want more. Why do they always want more? Well, he suddenly started telling them that after he had taken their lives, he had checked his phone to see where the closest remote area was and settled on Bragg Creek, transporting the pair the following day and hiding their bodies before adding an accelerant to them and setting them alight. He told the men that he had made a fire pit where he had gotten rid of the belongings that were in the car, such as the car seat, books and a DVD, and he had apparently covered his back seat in mulch, as well as covering the bodies in mulch, before telling officers that mulch is right, which is why he also had bacon hanging around the house, in a way of throwing off any dogs that they brought in. Not long after this, the 3 men in the middle of the night drove to Bragg Creek, where Robert showed them where the bodies were. Both were buried under these blue moving blankets and covered in mulch, sticks and soil. Robert was arrested, with police holding yet another press conference, this time telling the public that Jasmine's partner Robert had been arrested on charges of murder. In May, Robert was charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. The autopsy of Elia showed quite severe trauma to her neck, head and spinal cord, as well as what looked like injury down below, as if she'd been raped. The trial began on October 2021. Robert pleaded guilty to the murder of Jasmine, but denied murder of Elia. The prosecution said that on the day Robert picked Elia up from nursery, he had been alone with Elia, and it was said that the 2 were in the living room watching TV and playing when Elia decided she wanted to go upstairs to the kitchen. When she'd apparently gotten halfway up the stairs, she fell backwards, banging her head and neck on the floor. It was told that Aliyah had apparently been okay afterwards. She'd gotten up, cried a bit, but then she was fine. They then said that they'd watched TV and played before eating dinner together, and then Robert had put her to bed. After putting her to bed, Robert had apparently gone outside for a smoke. Jasmine had arrived home shortly after. She went upstairs to check on Aliyah, but apparently Aliyah was not moving or breathing and seemed completely unresponsive. It was said that at this point, Jasmine was angry at Robert, asking, "What have you done to my daughter?" and accusing him of taking her life. Angry at this, Robert had started to pick up a hammer and hit Jasmine over the head with it, knocking her to the ground before he ran to get his GUN to make sure she was truly gone, and said that he wrapped both of them in blue moving blankets before having a drink and falling asleep. The next day, he buried their bodies as we described before, burning as many things as possible in the fire pit and cleaning out the back of his car. Now the trauma of the back of Aliyah's head was worse than you would expect from a simple fall. She had more severe injuries to her neck and spine. Prosecutors questioned whether Jasmine had seen him or seen evidence of him engaging in possible rape with her daughter, and if he had hit her and taken her life to prevent her from telling anyone. It was strange how he told the undercover officers that he had taken both of their lives, but at trial, Robert denied murdering Aliyah. Now, Robert was the only witness in his defense as he told the story of what had happened. Robert waived his right to a jury trial, and in the Calgary court, the judge found him guilty, sentencing him to 22 years without the possibility of parole. Jasmine's family were pleased that there had been some justice for their loved ones. Unfortunately, it would not bring them back. Robert appealed his sentence, but this was ultimately denied. The family worked really hard to bring awareness to DV incidents in the home, raising $25,000 for the Calgary Women's Emergency Shelter. Jasmine and her daughter were beautiful souls that had their whole lives in front of them. We hear too many stories of women who end up losing their lives because of incidents involving DV in the home. Girls, listen, if you're suffering from incidents like this in your home, please Google for some help in your area. There are many shelters, there are family members, there are places that will help you. Please don't suffer alone. And if you've enjoyed today's video, there are many more to watch here on YouTube as well as on TikTok. You can follow for more updates and all the latest stories on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram and YouTube, all at Crime Stories Obsessed. Please click the like to say thank you for the video, as it always helps the channel. We will always be here remembering the victims and their stories, as they are important, and their stories will always live on. Thank you for watching. From everyone here at Crime Stories Obsessed, we wish you a really good day. Please stay safe wherever you are in this world.